Almost live from the CX Therapy Studio, CX Therapy Special Edition.
Good morning, Max. It has been a while. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I there you are. You look rather chilly in your November Paris. How are you? Are you keeping warm? How's the city of light? How are you?
Well, there are two things. It's getting cold, and I don't like that. But we're getting closer to Christmas, and having a little
Well,
one
that's
at
a nice
home,
thing.
I kind of like that. So, I mean, you can't get everything. So, pretty happy. Pretty good with everything. I haven't had any terrible customer experience lately. So, I think I'm good. What about you?
I got a story.
Oh,
Hate
you
to
got a
admit it.
story.
I got a story, and it kind of ties to the holidays a little bit. I have some speakers, and they let me. They're ones that I can move around. They're wireless speakers that I can connect to my network, and then I can move them around the house. And when we have people over, we can do music in different rooms and things like that. Or in the summer, we can go outside with it, and it's a lovely thing. And the sound quality is really good. However, I got a new router, and doesn't matter what I do, these speakers will not see the new router. I went through 4 or 5 different iterations of it. Um, Coincidentally, I'm working on some chatbot research, and one of the chatbot vendors gave me this company as a reference and gave me a link to their support bot. And I hadn't tried the support bot. I went to the support site, I did some other things. I looked at YouTube videos, read all the documentation. They have apps. I did everything through the app, but I didn't even know they had a bot. So I'm like, well, kill two birds with one stone. I can do some research, and I can uh, get my speaker
Solve my
working.
problem. Exactly.
Exactly. So I went to the bot, and it was impressive. I got to admit, it asked me what kind of speaker I had. I had that. It knew exactly what that was. I didn't have to do any more explaining or anything like that. Uh, I said I can't connect it to the network. It did the simple basic troubleshooting. It didn't walk me through a bunch of silly steps or anything like that. It did 2 or 3 things and just pretty quickly knew that this was going to stump it. So it came back and said, I need to get you to an agent. And I'm like, okay, great. I tried before in this company. I hadn't been able to get to a human before. So this was kind of exciting. So they sent me a link.
So when you're getting excited about talking to customer service,
Oh, just wait. Oh, just wait. So I click the link. I get to the thing, and it says it's going to cost you $5 to do this. It was actually a third party technical support gig company. So this is not the manufacturer. This is not the company that I did the bot with. This was a third party, and what they do is they have experts who they will access, and it's a subscription service. You pay to subscribe to it, and for any company who they support, when you need service, it will be covered under your subscription to this third party service. And what they do is they go out there, and you can sign up. If you want to do, your headphones, because you've been hassling with them so much, you could become a support guy for that and get paid something just on a casual gig sort of basis. But it would have been really nice to get my speaker fixed. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to pay the $5. And of course, you pay the $5, refundable if you sign up for their service. You have to sign up for their service. So it's refundable if you don't cancel their service. The service is an initial sign up, and I'm not sure what the monthly fee was. There was a monthly fee for the service, and the initial sign up plus the monthly fee was $48. So you can talk to an agent for $48, or you can cancel my service and it'll be $5.
And just to set the context a little bit, how much are the speakers to start with?
They're a couple $100. So yeah, you're right.
So we're
That
talking 25%
25% of the purchase.
just to
Good
get it to
point.
work.
Good point. Yes. So um, I I did that. I signed up. There was actually a second bot. So that's the other thing here. I had the bot on the manufacturer's site. It said, "Great, I'm going to escalate you to a person." There was a bot that greeted me on the other site, let me know that was the option, gave me a link to sign up for it. And then once I did that, I got back to the bot. The bot set the expectation that someone would be with me within 4 minutes. And then, interestingly, the bot stayed there. So I had the bot on my screen, and I waited. And actually, I waited a few minutes thinking, oh, I'm going to get somebody right away. Got to be 6, 7 minutes. I was hungry. I made myself a sandwich. I was sitting there eating my sandwich. And after a while, and of course, I'm doing bot research. So I'm sending little snarky messages saying, hey, what's going on? How come nobody's got to me yet? And they're like, well, we're busier than normal. We're having trouble finding somebody for you. All the standard stuff. Um, about halfway through my sandwich, said, okay, if I finish my sandwich before I get somebody, I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. So finished my sandwich, sent a final message saying, is anybody coming? And they said, oh, we've moved you up to being a priority customer, so we should get you somebody very soon. And I like, there was 5 minutes of me. I decided that was enough. I went ahead and put the dish in the sink and did a couple things and came back and still nothing. So I'm like, all right, I want to cancel. And the bot was kind of like, are you sure you want to cancel? We're going to get you somebody right away. We made you this. I said, I want to cancel. So they gave me an 800 number to call. So I called the 800 number, third bot. Again, excellent bot. The voice quality was over the top good. Um, it, I said, I want to cancel my service. It was able to identify me. There was so little friction getting identified. I don't remember what I did to identify myself. Um, it knew who I was, and I said, I want to cancel my service, and it hummed and hawed and did a couple of things, and I responded to that with, I want my money back, and I want to cancel my service now. And in about 3 seconds, it came back and said, your money has been refunded. We have canceled you. Apologies for any inconvenience. So speaker still doesn't work, but it didn't cost me anything other than my time. So that's my story.
So when you asked for a refund, that was a refund on the $5 fee, not on the
No, it
monthly
was a refund for everything.
for everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay.
So, although I guess I should double check my account to make sure that. But
Next month.
yeah,
Well, there's quite a bit to unpack here. I
yeah,
mean,
there is.
so this, who was telling us about this? Was it, I can't remember who told us that story about the router that had been upgraded and
Oh, that was Dan
people,
Miller.
it was
Yeah,
Dan, exactly, it was
and
Dan.
and yeah, you had to have a PhD in routers to do what they expected the average customer to do.
And I mean, I understand manufacturers. There's so much technology out there now. I mean, 20 years ago, you just had to have a VGA port or a USB port,
Right, right.
and you would connect, right? It was either Windows or Apple, and then you had absolutely 90% of all the OS on the planet. Now you have so many cables and technologies and
Right, right.
signals to connect to, and is it going to be Bluetooth, but is it going to be the same the same generation, is it going to connect, is it going to be using NFC, is it going to be using, I mean there's so many things out there. I understand that it could be a struggle, but when your job is only to sell speakers that are meant to be connected and they don't, there's a problem.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's probably the first thing. That's a technology issue, which is understandable but not acceptable. The second thing, if we talk a little bit more about customer experience, the scariest thing here to me in your story is the fact that they send you to a paid service to get what you already paid for to work. And I love the fact that it costs 25% because it reminds me of the US tipping culture, where you already paid for an expensive meal, but you're still going to have to pay an extra 20% because
20%. Right,
you would
right.
not pay your staff properly. So I'm going to have to pay extra so that your staff can actually eat at the end of the day. And it feels the same. I already paid $200 for a product, but I'm going to have to pay another 25% just to make sure
For
it's
it to
working.
work. Yeah.
It isn't it a, I mean, there is something. I have very mixed feelings about this. I have mixed feelings because I feel the whole process is completely wrong. And you're sending a message to your customers. Either we don't care enough or we don't know enough about our own products that we're not going to fix it for you. So this message is terrible.
And and I very strongly feel it's the former. It's the we don't care. Um, the fact that as best I don't know how you get to a human being at that company. I've tried, like I said, I did it through the app. I did it through this. It and the thing is, the bots were about as good of bots as I've literally ever seen. So it just, they were, the scope wasn't to do full troubleshooting of something like that, and it shouldn't be, dear goodness. But it just speaks to, you know, yes, we're going to automate a lot of stuff we haven't before. I mean, that those bots, if that bot had been sitting behind a person at that company who is going to help me, it would have saved them a lot of time. I would have had a lovely experience.
But
But
I don't know if you remember that story I shared. Was it 3, 4 years ago now? On the Hall of Fame, we have that company, is Bouygues Telecom, if I
right,
remember
right,
correctly, um, where I was telling you the story that whenever you have a problem, you have to go with a bot. Now, it's not a chat bot per se, it's a diagnostic bot. And just to filter out, people who just didn't turn on the machine or forgot to plug it to the wall, you have to go through the diagnostic. But the thing is, it fixes 80% of the problems. And if it does not, then they send you to a human agent who already has all the data of the diagnostic. So
exactly.
so they won't ask you to plug it again. They won't ask you to try stuff that you've done. They're just going to fix your problem. And the reason why this company was on my Hall of Fame is because it was so smooth. I was not super thrilled to have to go through the diagnostic because I feel I'm probably smarter than just, oh, you forgot to plug it. But probably I'm not, and it was actually a great experience in the end. And here, it's just, let's automate everything. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Who cares?
Yeah,
It's
exactly, exactly. It's like we're going to save a buck. We're going to let this third party company ruin our brand. I mean, we're going to have someone to you in 4 minutes, and 35 minutes later, I'm
well,
I'm I'm giving up.
yeah, when you send people to this company, you've pretty much ruined your brand on your own. I'm not sure
Yeah,
there's really
exactly.
anyone else to blame at this point. But that was actually the other side that that was actually the other side that I wanted to cover. I love the business model of that company. I mean, if it was your decision to say, I don't want to wait in line, I'd rather pay $5 or I'd rather pay $50 a month because these guys are going to help me fix my fridge that is creating ice when I'm not asking for it. It's going to fix my what is it, my dryer, so that my wife doesn't have to open it up again at the end of the month to fix it. I mean, this kind of company that's going to help you out, I feel the service is fantastic. I mean, the concept is fantastic. Obviously, the service is
I,
not quite there. But the fact that
yeah,
they force you there, that's where the problem lies.
right. I had a similar thought. Is this, if that company had a lot of companies that I use as some sort of a white glove service, I might be interested in doing that. And $48 was sign up and monthly fee. I'm not sure how much the monthly fee was, but I'm sure it was $10 ish. I don't know. And I looked on their website and they were very cagey about what their fees were. So it doesn't show up anywhere. Uh, yeah, that's an interesting model, and someday that might work. The thing is, they did it as a gig thing, and again, this speaker company, come on, how many people out in the wild are going to be experts on that speaker and be available? I got a hunch there are other products where I would have had somebody like that, but they just
That's
don't
why
have
the model is interesting, but I think it's built the wrong way. It should be a bidding system. Like instead of having a live conversation with a so-called expert, you explain the problem like you've done already to the bot to some extent, and then it's being sent to a forum, for the lack of a better term, and the experts can look into it and bid, saying, "Oh, I can fix that." If this guy awards me the $5, I'm actually gonna give him the secret recipe. It might not be live, but at least
that's a good idea. I think it worked exactly that way, but it was live, and that's where it broke down. And I was thinking about the irony of, oh, I moved you to the priority queue. What the only thing that can mean, it's not like they're going to go find more experts. The only thing that can possibly mean is they're now going to say, okay, anybody can support this thing, not just people who actually have any knowledge of this product. And
I
and
think
then
you still have. You're pretty pessimistic by saying this, but I think you still have too much faith in technology. I think the only thing it means is the AI behind the bot is saying, "Oh, I'm gonna bullshit something just to make him stick around a little longer."
it could be. I could also see, the I'm support for product A, this level of expertise, blah blah blah. And it's like, just give me anybody you can find, which is not going to be a good answer in the end. That's what I'm saying. I'm not. Yeah, that'd be. I mean, what else could they do to make a priority? If it is a bidding thing, they could offer more money. But even then, you're going to get somebody who doesn't know what the heck they're doing, and just
Yeah,
say, well, that's enough
and
money. It's worth being an idiot on.
now, actually, turning things around, I think the platform could be good. I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? I'm going to assume the platform is fairly new and they're still building. I mean, that's always a problem with startups. Until you
Right.
have a certain volume of users, your product is not working. And then suddenly you hit that tipping point, and then it just flows beautifully. Think about Uber when you got 3 drivers in the city. Who's going to be using that? But once you
Right.
have a few thousand drivers, then it just flows
Excuse me.
kind of naturally. But actually, turning things around, it could be a fantastic model. It could be a great model for companies to send their customers to if they were actually paying for it. And now that I think about this, is if you want to outsource, sure, we've been outsourcing customer support to BPOs
Forever.
for decades. No problem with that. But why are you asking customers to pay for it?
Right. Right.
If that's a trend, that's pretty scary for the world of CX for the upcoming future. Because if you start asking customers to pay for customer service, that's going to be an interesting word for people like us.
So, it, and this is the thing about it is the thing that made this so galling was you're asking me to pay, which is a completely unfair ask. Totally agree with you. It should never be that way. Bake it into your product. That's what selling products requires. But then, okay, I paid because I was A, curious, B, backed into a wall, but then they couldn't even support me. I paid money to not get support and I got my money back. But I mean, this is a
Was
double.
um
It's
was
a
a
trip.
refund an option? And I don't mean refund for the fixing fees. I mean, could you just get your money back and send back the speakers?
Uh, I didn't ask for that, and they're 3 years old or so, so I don't think anybody in the world would do that.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. The speakers were not new. The router was
Right,
new.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, do you feel any better about it? I mean, you don't
I
hear any
do.
better, but do you
You
feel
know,
any better?
yeah, I don't hear any better. True. This was scarring, just because how doubly bad. I'm still. If I ever get 6 minutes where I'm not sure what I'm going to do with myself, I'm going to write the CEO of that company an email and just say, "This was my experience. Welcome to it. This is what you think of your customers." Um,
At the very least, he owes you a sandwich.
yes, I don't think I'll ask for that. I don't think I'll put that in the note, but maybe if he calls me personally and we have an hour long chat about it, I'll get into that.
I
Um,
hope he does. Actually, it's the thing we're doing here, the thing we've been doing for 5 years now, judging companies is pretty easy. I mean, the whole Dunning Kruger effect, right? When you look at it from the outside, everything seems easy, but when you
yes,
start getting your hands dirty, it's way more complex than it seems. So, judging them, yeah, that's a major fuck up, and I really don't understand how they got to that. But actually, companies that realize they made a mistake, call their customers, try to find out what went wrong, and then fix it. There are very few of those companies. So if he actually calls you and have that conversation and try to fix a problem, kudos to them. And
yeah,
I definitely want to follow up on that.
yeah, I will do that. Well, I got to send the email. Well, and that's what happened with my wife with the car and the tires. The
True. Exactly. So
she
it
did the
does happen.
survey and they responded.
And that's what happened to, what was it? That was Ricardo's story back in January, I believe, with the insulin thing,
Oh
where he
yeah,
had amazing. So it does happen every now and then. It does happen. It's just not,
yes.
unfortunately, not as often as we like. But we're now in November, so that could be a Christmas miracle.
All right, I'll hope for that. That sounds good.
Well, it was lovely talking to you, Max. Hopefully, that's going to be fixed at some point, and I'd love to have a follow up. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and see you in a month's time for yet another episode of the CX Therapy. Bye now.
Thanks. Bye.